counted 6.
Yeah, there's Punky, Candace, me, Ron, Poston, and
Moses, Willie.
I'm talking about the new niggas.
Oh, my fault.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I didn't know we were going NN.
Yeah, I don't know all those. I don't know the old people.
I was like, old people. What about Ian Edwards? That's just a mirage for you, or
No, I know him, but he's old school.
He's different era.
So you're saying this is the NN?
Like in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Last 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're counting. We're at 6.
We don't count Darwin.
1 a year.
Yeah, 1 a year.
I like this.
I bet they don't even know Darwin Hines.
No.
That's
Have you ever heard of that?
Man,
who is that?
He was one of our favorites.
He was the token black guy that Tommy, the old racist talent coordinator, used to put on the lineup, and he'd be like, "Well, I had to put one on."
Jesus,
and then the
Tommy.
moment Ian started performing here, he never got a spot again. And he was so bad at
really
comedy.
Bad.
That's fucked up.
He was so bad at comedy that like the comics were like, we loved watching his terrible comedy. So we'd be like, hey, what happened to Darwin? He'd be like, well, we got Ian now. We don't need him. Like,
yeah.
I mean, that sounds racist as fuck.
His name was Darwin.
Darwin Hines.
He actually was funny.
And he
wasn't. He could get a
and
little.
when they asked what happened to him, nobody said survival of the fittest.
No.
His name was Darwin. How could comics miss that joke?
God damn it.
That is a good joke.
Darwin.
We did miss it quite a few years because Darwin's one of our favorites.
Man, I don't like Pope Benedict, man.
Making me
I
feel
like him.
You're making me feel like one of those young kids that like listens to rap but doesn't know who Rakim is.
Ooh. That got me angry
Don't
for
you
a
know
second.
You don't know Darwin?
Okay. Know your history. Well, speaking of history, this is the Comedy Store podcast. It's about
Did
to
we
be
start?
history. Yeah, look, they plugged us in and left.
Damn,
there they are.
They didn't even count us down on nothing.
No, there wasn't
This
even
place is falling
quiet
apart.
for silence or no shit like that. They don't even care anymore.
I mean, now Darwin's going to listen and know that I don't respect his comedy styles.
Is there a reason that we don't have the headphones on? Is it like a ringworm?
you can put them
epidemic?
on, but I believe it could have ringworms in them.
I mean,
or
there's no wipes.
There's crackle. I used to bring wipes. Remember,
Yeah,
I
she
brought them a
did.
few times. Guy Tori brought them once.
It just always buzzes. Yeah, it was. No, Guy brought his own headphones.
Oh, that's right. But somebody else brought wipes, and then we had Sebastian on Maniscalco, and I brought wipes because I thought he would want to wipe down.
I'm glad y'all did this because they've tried many iterations of a Comedy Store type deal.
Oh, absolutely. Well,
And
we've been doing it for a while. They've just been ignoring us.
Yeah.
Well, but I think it's good. It's better for it to be paid regulars doing it because when it was the door guys doing it,
it's very uncomfortable.
I mean, we were doing it for years before that even happened.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow. Yeah.
I was screaming at Eric. I'm like, people are saying I already did the Comedy Store podcast because they talked to a couple door guys in the basement. And I go, wait a minute. Like, we really try to.
Well, that's the thing. I
talk
think
to
the
him
door
for-
guys didn't have because I did it when I was a door guy.
Yeah.
And it was too the power dynamic is too off for you to be able to have a real fucking conversation. You know,
Yeah.
you're so worried about because you're a door
You don't
guy.
want to
Does he
offend
respect
them.
me?
Right, you don't want to
Yeah.
offend them. You don't want the management. Because I remember we were it was Hassan and me
Yeah.
on one of the episodes, and that's another thing. We changed that off every week.
Yeah, I did it twice, and each time it was a different guy.
Right. So it was Hassan and me, or Hassan and I, whatever. And
Whatever you want to say. I don't.
he
Not a lot of political.
and I remember
correct.
Bill Burr was down here.
Yes.
Right. And you know he can get to talking. You know.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And so he was down here for maybe 20 minutes. And then it started being people at the door signaling and all that. And he kept going for like maybe another 10, 15 minutes.
He's like, no, you got me going.
And then when he left, they yelled at us because they were like, if it takes too long, then nobody's going to want to do it. And I was like, yeah, but you want me to cut him off? And they were like, and I was like, he was talking. And they were like, yeah, but he's not going to remember that it was his fault. He's just going to remember that it took a long time. And I was like, so then how the fuck are we supposed to do this? Because I can't tell him to shut the fuck up.
And that's ridiculous.
Can you imagine, Bill?
Not to
you're a
mention-
little bit of a
Yeah,
talker.
yeah,
Shut the
can
fuck
you-
up.
can
If
you
it has-
can you nip it in the butt? I
and if
just
it
asked
has
you a couple questions.
Anything to do with comedy, you just let Bill Burr talk as long as he wants.
Exactly. Like, why do I tell? How can I be? I'm new to comedy. I'm new at the store. I'm a door guy. How can I fucking tell Bill Burr that I've had enough?
Every
Bill,
time.
could you wrap it up?
Every time Bill walks in, he'll be like, "That's that fucking guy."
Because here's the wild
Made me
shit. Here's
wrap
the
it
wild
up.
shit. None of them people standing at the door had the balls to come in here and tell me to shut
That's
the fuck
right.
up.
Yeah.
But then they just yelled at me about not doing
Yeah.
it. So then I was like, and then the next one, I think I was interviewing Bobby Lee.
Okay, I'm sorry.
And he was fucking
Yeah.
with me. And
Of
after
course.
that, I was just like, I'm not doing this shit. Because I come in here you have to come in on your day off.
Yeah.
So I'm coming in on my day off.
Oh.
I don't get to clock in. And I never know what my interaction is going to be with these people, you know, because I know they see me as I don't fucking know you, door guy, you know what I mean? So it's
right.
That's how they see me, and I've been here for 18 years. Yeah. They're like, you're not someone.
So now this is official.
Yeah. It's been
this is real.
Okay, that's the weird part. You're just like 153 or
episodes?
4.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's not like that's what I'm saying. That's why we were arguing with them because they're basically ignoring us. Like
they're promoting Argus
we're
Hamilton's
busting
show
our ass.
that 9 people have seen worldwide.
And they call it Comedy Store Tonight. But ours is the Comedy Store podcast. So people are like, "Oh, is that the Comedy Store pod? Which one's the?"
But I don't understand that either.
Listen,
I mean, much love to Argus, but I don't think he's the face of the Comedy Store at the moment.
Well, I'm never gonna say Argus isn't a part of the Comedy Store.
No,
he
he's
helped
definitely
put
a
the
part of
fucking
it.
thing together,
but it's not what's making the Comedy Store the Comedy Store.
Right. I mean, is he interviewing people from like back then?
Yeah, all
sometimes.
of the above.
Okay.
But what's weird, he'll get like I did it, and it was me and Bruce Baum, and so Bruce Baum is from like the
old
70s, early 80s.
Mm-hmm.
But then like sometimes like he had Amir K on. I'm like,
right.
that dude's not even a comic here.
I mean, he's a comic here, but he's not a regular.
He's not a paid regular.
Right.
Yeah.
So it just seemed
funny though.
No, we love Amir.
Yeah.
It's just like we're trying to like keep the ridiculousness of the Comedy Store stories alive. Like there's some crazy wild stories that people tell, and that's what we've been doing, like talking about the actual history of this place. And Argus is just doing the Tonight Show.
He's doing a Tonight Show parody, basically.
Which I love because that's what he always wanted to do.
Now you went on vacation recently, is that right? And you're like, oh no, he's doing setups. Was I supposed to do a pre-interview, Argus? I'm so confused.
That's funny.
But that's what he loves. But I just wish they would have called it, like I've told Eric and I've told Michael a million times, I wish they would have called it Argus Hamilton, the Comedy Store Tonight.
Yeah, or just called Argus Hamilton
He's Argus
Tonight
Hamilton. He's still Argus Hamilton. I'm not taking anything away from him. We're really promoting the shit out of him right now.
Yeah, I just wish they would call it canceled. ASAP.
Oh, damn.
Just tell Argus he partied too hard and he lost the shot.
Oh, damn.
Rick always thinks of the funniest mean thing to say.
Constantly.
Well, when I did the Door Guy podcast, as long as we're on the subject of mean things to say.
I'm excited.
One of the times Isaac interviewed me.
Oh, yeah, Isaac.
And it was like
I got to think about that.
Yeah, it was like I felt like I was being punked because it was like, what made you want to do comedy? It was like, wait, is this really what we're talking about?
Are you sure it wasn't Feng Chao?
No, it was Feng Chao.
I don't know if you know comedy.
I don't know if you know your Asians.
If Feng Chao would have been like, how fucking great is pussy? Right? Like,
I don't think they would have put Feng Chao in charge of anything.
Yeah, that's.
Do you know that Ryan O'Neal right now is trying to convince Feng Chao that it would be great if he went out as the Rice Man instead of the Dice Man?
I'm liking that. I'm liking
and
that.
showcase for Andrew for Dice to get on his tour as the Rice Man.
Oh, that would be so funny. He'll never do it.
Oh, no, he's like, okay, I do it tonight. He was yelling at me, telling me
for the O'Neal brothers.
So he's doing an impression of Dice, but
he's not. It's just O'Neal wants him. Ryan O'Neal's breaking his balls. Like, just do it. Just tell Dice you'll be the Rice Man.
Hickory,
Dice will like it, and he'll take you on the road.
Doc. I would like to see him do full nursery rhymes. Riddle Boy Brew.
Wait a minute. That's not how it goes. But wait, so we have to introduce you because we're terrible. We just kamikazed it, which is normally how we do it.
That was mostly my fault, though. Yeah.
Nah, but that's how we do it a lot because we're comfortable with you.
Yeah.
So this is a Comedy Store podcast. I'm Eleanor Kerrigan.
I'm still Rick Ingram.
That's so good of you.
Yeah.
And we have Brian Simpson with us.
It's me. It is I.
Very exciting.
You were a door guy here first.
Very briefly, I got fired like 5 months in.
Yeah, I remember.
Are you serious?
I just remember you worked here, and people were excited. And this is not a knock on all the other door guys, even though it clearly is. When you started working here, the general word was, "Hey, they hired a door guy, and he's actually funny." And it was like,
I think that was the beginning of them hiring funny door guys.
Yeah,
or at least it started.
Well, now you have to. I mean, you always had a showcase to be a door guy, right?
I
mean, sometimes we just hired people
during the Tommy era. It was literally just if Tommy decided, and I guess he would have showcased you by watching you in the open mic,
or at least asked if you were a comic. How long have you been doing comedy?
It's been 9 years now.
Oh wow, okay. See, that's the thing with these door guys; they're coming up with years under their belt, which is amazing.
Yeah.
So you come in as a door guy. You got fired 5 months in.
Yeah. I got.
What'd you get fired for?
The short story is I was just not good at the job.
Yeah.
I didn't care. It was just that by the time I came up here, I had already been a doorman or bouncer for probably 5 years.
Yeah.
So by the time I came
You were
up here,
through.
I was just over it, and I told them that when they hired me. I was like, I don't know how long it's gonna last, but I hope it ends on a good note, you know. And it and it did. It did. I didn't get fired like I did, because you know, as long as you don't cost them money or hurt somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's because they thought I was funny, so they liked me. But it was
Yeah.
like you can't work here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Adam's obsessed with you, which is
I
great.
Yeah, I love Adam.
But so you do the phones too, though, right?
Nope, never did the phones.
You never did the phones?
I never did the phones, and I never did anything. I never did anything that involved tips.
Okay.
I stayed away from the lot and
Smart.
any shift. Though I never worked the OR. I
The
never did
lot's terrible.
It's because I didn't want to argue with people over money. Because you know, I just wanted
Smart.
to work. I just wanted to be as
Become a part of the family.
and then get out
And
before
do your
before
comedy.
I did something that cost money.
Right. Or hate the place. 'Cause
Right,
That's
exactly.
the other thing.
But
I have.
that's the danger, right? As
Yeah.
I tell all the door guys, like, don't work here too long, because then you start to resent your shitty minimum wage job, which is what it is.
Yeah.
And then that
Minimum
mixes with your
wage.
comedy, which you love. So it's like you get this mind fuck every time
Oh,
you come
yeah.
in, where it's like you love the place, but you hate the place. You know?
And if you've been here, and some of them have been here longer than that, but if you've been a
They
door
really-
guy for 3-4 years, then they're basically going to see you as a door guy and
Yeah.
not like
yeah. They do.
if they haven't passed you in
stay
that amount of
long.
time.
They stay too long, I think.
Adam's
the
not
door
watching-
guys. Yeah.
Adam's not seeing some guy and being like, "Well, I've been watching him for 7 years. And he's ready." It's literally just when he goes up, he's like, "No, I've never passed this
Yeah.
guy," and that shit didn't happen.
I think all the people that Adam hired are
Under his radar a
Right.
little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit more so. I think, yeah, because I'm thinking of Ari. And Ari was here a long time before she passed him.
Yeah, he was like close to a decade.
Almost 7 years, I think.
Yeah.
A little over. Like a little longer than
And he
Gary
showcased,
Shandling,
like,
which...
I think he showcased like 60 times. for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't think that they see you as like, it's just that you get into that, I think what you're saying, where they come here and they hate it, but they have to be here, but they're just in this like angry kind of thing. I don't know, but some of them are really, really good.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn.
And what I think too that's probably new too, because I don't think that this is not somewhere to develop, you know, like anymore. Like you have to be funny already when you get here, because you don't get the time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It used
that's
to be.
different.
Yeah.
You don't get the time because I mean, your guaranteed spot is that OR spot
Every Monday.
and then everything after that is like you gotta, because that's happened to a lot of people too. Is they
Mhm.
come here and they get caught up in the prestige of being a door guy, and then they don't go do no mics, they don't go do other shows, and
Right.
they only do their time here. And it's like you doing 40 minutes a month.
yeah.
You're not gonna get good.
40 minutes a month. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I mean that's
hilarious.
if you get a development spot every week.
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
So it's like you at most you're doing 20 minutes a month, because you probably get one a month. So
Yeah.
it's like you're not
That's
gonna
gonna take
develop doing that.
a long time to get
When
to
I-
10,000 hours.
When I worked here, yeah.
No bullshit.
When I worked here in the early 2000s, we didn't even make minimum wage. We got $25 a night, and
That was a
my
real
shift
thing.
was
Wow.
from
But
seven
but then wasn't
seven to 2 in the
everybody
morning.
No.
There wasn't anyone.
There were some,
There
but
were, but there wasn't anything
much
to steal
to
because there's no crowds here back then.
we didn't have any
Yo,
audience.
you know what?
But you got stage time because open mic was Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday.
Oh wow.
So you got a spot every one of those nights, and then you got to go up in the belly room. And I got passed. I was still a doorman.
Damn, I
and-
wish they would bring back another night and just one more potluck night.
we had Sunday and Mondays for a long time, but then they started making money on Sunday, and they were like,
Yeah, fuck that.
"Fuck the open mic."
Yeah,
But it was good because that was my development. Because Danish and O'Neill, myself, we would flip flop with the hosting for like a
Yeah.
good 2 years when I first started. Like we would go on and off. We would have Sunday and Mondays, and we would just the three of us would like work out who was doing what nights. And they got mad at me because I think I had Mondays for a long time, and they were like, one time I had a switch with Danish, and he came in and he did it, and he was like, fucking Tommy's not here the whole night. And I'm like, oh no, he's doing the lineups with Mitzi.
Oh shit!
He was so mad. He's
so,
like, I'm taking Mondays.
I feel so lucky that I got into the store when I did, like right as the revival was happening.
Yeah.
And then I never met Tommy. I still don't know who he is.
Okay, so
And
you're lucky.
I never had to deal with him right away.
Hi, Tommy.
Yeah.
There he is.
Well, it's not just that, okay? He came here to develop comic. We don't need that here.
Oh, yeah, that's a great thing, Tommy. Don't
Tommy
you
would have
think?
not liked that because he wanted everyone to owe him for
That's true.
he did for them.
Well, I feel bad for the guys that he hired and then
Fucked with.
and then Adam, like then a new regime comes in and
I see.
they didn't pick you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it's like
And like Tommy's thing was he basically told everyone, "You're one of the next guys."
That's what I mean.
Do it. It was not like we've had like 10 people be like, and then Tommy told me I was going to be next. I'm like, yeah, Tommy told a lot of people they were going to be next.
and then you got to start over and prove yourself all over again as a whole new person.
Yeah, and then like
that happened to Jeremiah.
Adam will be
Watkins.
like, yeah,
Oh.
That's what delayed him. He would have been right in, but
Oh yeah, see.
and Adam will go, I don't really like him. He's a Tommy guy. You're like, yeah, understandable.
yeah.
But Tommy's whole thing was it was all power because he was basically a fraud in a position he never really earned.
Yeah, you
Right.
talking about the ultimate finesse. He finessed the shit out that position.
Yeah.
And he was trying to like recreate what Mitzi did or become her somehow.
What he thought
Yeah.
she was.
So like
It was like power trips and stuff. And you're like, just
he takes full responsibility for Whitney Cummings and Chris D'Elia's career. Full
Andrew
responsibility.
Santino.
That's crazy.
Like he was posting
Oh,
it
Andrew
on.
Santino.
He was
yeah,
posting
yeah.
it on someone's Facebook page. I created Whitney. I created Chris D'Elia. I created Andrew Santino. I created Brent Morin. It was like,
We're like,
I
wait,
think those guys
what?
might have had something to do with their careers.
Yeah, won't you name the 50 other people you missed on?
Right.
Well, you know what it is. I think because I never met Mitzi either. So
Right.
Yeah.
I think it was.
What year did you start here?
I came here in 2015. So I started here in 2016.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What year are we in?
2019.
Scary for me.
And
Well,
but no one will ever have, because people respected her and were afraid of her. Like people at every level, even the famous,
terrified.
the legends,
Yeah.
everybody,
Yeah.
they respected her in a way. Whereas I don't think that's ever going to be there again, no matter who the talent
It won't.
No.
But it was such a different thing though, because Mitzi was a pioneer in that there weren't a bunch of places where everyone wanted to go up back in the day. It was this place.
Yeah.
And
that
then they
was it.
opened other clubs, but it was still like the Comedy Store. If you're in LA, that's where you want to be. And then like when I showed up here, you couldn't pay people to come perform at the Comedy
Right,
Store.
and they would make fun of us. They were like, "Oh, it's all inside jokes there, and it's all dark and seedy." And it was.
And there was legitimate Friday nights where we couldn't start the OR show. It was supposed to start at 9. We couldn't start it until 10:15 because we didn't have 6 people in the audience.
Yeah.
And what do you think was the biggest turnaround? The biggest reason? Because from far away it looked like a whole bunch of things, but I have no idea.
But wait, you were doing stand up for 9 years. Where were you doing stand up, on the East Coast?
I was in San Diego.
Oh, in San Diego. Oh,
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah. Did you work in La Jolla ever? Or?
No, I
No.
worked at the Madhouse down there.
Oh, okay. Whoa.
Oh,
But
hell yeah.
they fucked with me in La Jolla, but I couldn't go out there because it's different now. But when I first started, the way they ran their open mic, and I don't drive, so I was always on the bus.
Oh,
And it's like
okay.
I would have to get out of class and catch the bus all the way the fuck out there. And it's like if you weren't in line, you didn't get a spot. You had to be. It was like first come.
Yeah,
Right.
that's how they did it at
And
the
I was
Laugh
like-
Factory
and
too.
I would always miss it. And then when people don't know, when you're a new comic, people are like, "Fuck out of here! Stop asking me if you can go up." It's like, so I just was like, it's not worth my time. So I just never went at first, but then the Madhouse hired me. But that was the best thing that ever happened to me, because when I at the Madhouse, they were new.
Right.
They had just opened up, and so I
Did Robert hire you?
Yeah, Robert. Yeah,
Yeah.
Robert hired me, and they let me do everything.
Yeah.
There were nights where I was literally selling tickets, seating people, running the sound, and hosting
That's
the
like
show.
what we would do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's old school comedy stuff.
So it's like I would learn, and I hosted the Comedy Juice, and I hosted the open mics, and then by the time I was like maybe a year or something in, and I was featuring on the weekends, like doing 30-minute sets, like real soon.
That's awesome.
And so
Wow.
I just got so much fucking stage time, and I was like, I don't need to go anywhere else.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so,
Well, you're spoiled. You're like, oh,
oh yeah.
hell
I mean, I was getting like 3 or 4 hours of stage time a week. You know.
Oh,
Yeah,
dang.
that's
For
great.
like a year and a half into comedy, I was just going up every night. It's constantly.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because I mean, doing all that getting that much time in, because people always ask, well, what do you got to do to get good? It's the time.
Oh,
if you
yeah.
can get the time, and we would have to drive to get longer spots.
Oh yeah. That's
Like
what
you
I mean.
couldn't
Yeah.
get longer spots in
Yeah,
town.
I would get the longest spots I could get locally were here. And I'd get like my 15-minute spot once or twice a week.
well,
then,
yeah.
And then I do fallouts where you get a 10-minute or whatever. But then, like, if I wanted to do 20 minutes or more, I would have to drive to Riverside with wheels.
Yeah, Riverside.
And
was
it's
a big
crazy
one.
too how people don't like here. People don't believe that you can do more than
Because
15 minutes.
they've been
The
duped.
yeah.
They've been they've gotten,
Programmed to believe that this is the way it is.
people
so.
lie to them though.
That's why
People
this is
say I can do this, then they go do it, and
It's
they
not
can't.
good. Right.
It's not good. They have a solid 8 minutes, and then they go and they have to do say 25 or 30. So it's just pulling teeth.
Yeah. And it's weird. That's why the industry pisses me off sometimes, is because they show when they do these showcases for these big things that's supposed to change.
Oh.
It's like it's
Just
one-
for laughs. and
Yeah,
shit.
1 minute, 2 minutes. You know what I mean? And it's like, how can you decide who the best comic in the room is in 2 minutes?
Yeah, well, they decide off of their checklist. Do we have a black person? Do we have a gay person?
Or
Do we have
and
a long-haired white guy?
Yeah.
do we have this management
Yeah.
people in? Do we have that
Right.
agency?
I thought
in?
at least Just for Laughs don't pretend.
Oh yeah, they're very
Like
open.
did you know? Do you remember? I don't know if you've been paying attention, but Laughing Skull they caught a bunch of shit because they didn't have no black women. Like they put out a poster
I saw that
with all the people that got
yeah.
it in, and it was clearly like the first thing you notice is where's all the black people, and
Like
and
no black
it's in
people or
Atlanta,
black
too,
women.
right?
there were no black women. There was
That's
like
women,
6 black
right.
dudes and no black women. But the point is, their response to the criticism was, "Hey, we have a diverse panel. We it's a blind submission, and we pick people only based on merit." And it's like, anybody that's been in the industry long enough know the goddamn well ain't nothing based on merit.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
It's all about who recommends
know.
you.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. It's like I know some people get in on merit alone, but I
Very rarely.
know 6 or
Very
7 people
rare.
personally that got in, and it's all about I knew the dude.
My manager.
Or such and such
yeah.
wants to fuck me, or you know what I mean? Or I sold cocaine to that guy. And so it's like, don't act like it's just a fair process.
Yeah.
Look, you let a bunch of people put their thumb on the scale when it was all said and done. There wasn't no black chicks, and now you try to justify by acting like it's all fair, straight up the middle. It's like, just get some black bitches in there. Like you didn't.
It's toss 3
Yeah,
in.
just fix it.
By the
Like,
way, that's a great way to say it. Get some black bitches in there.
Yeah,
That's
it's true. It's like, don't act like you can't just massage it, because that's
Yeah.
everything here is about who you know.
It's all who you know.
who knows you, who you connected to, who you associated with.
Yeah.
And talent matters, but you know what it is to me? It's like talent is gold blocks, and rep is credit.
Ooh,
And either way,
interesting.
you can make it with a combination of either thing, but it's like, credit is dope. If you got a high
Yeah,
credit
yeah.
score, they'll give you the same shit they'll give me for walking in
For
with 2
gold.
blocks of gold. You
Yeah,
know what I
That's
mean?
hilarious.
So, but don't try to act like, oh no, we just giving it to the people that have the most gold. No, the
Right.
fuck you ain't.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%.
Yeah.
And that's a fantastic analogy,
Exactly.
too, because there's a lot of people in this industry that are living on credit.
Oh yeah,
All day.
when that shit run out, that's the
That's
difference.
called
is that-
white privilege.
Yeah, you can keep
No.
gold under your mattress and be good in 10 years. But
Yeah.
with that credit, that shit run out.
Yeah,
They'll
it's true.
take it from your ass. You know.
What
If
do
you don't
know?
start making gold with that credit, then eventually
Right.
your credit card's going to be like, yeah, we're cutting the credit.
Maxed out, buddy. You're
Yeah.
all maxed. But yeah, I tell everybody it's 10%. You have to be funny.
Yeah.
You have to learn the rest of it. The business, there's a whole nother. Like I used to wake up every morning and be like, all right, what would Whitney do? Because Whitney's the best at the business.
Yeah.
Like she was so good, and we all kind of like started together. She might have had like maybe 2 years before me because she was doing it in DC and on the East Coast. But I had no I was just like, oh okay. All I knew was what I knew from the Comedy Store.
That's the mistake I made.
She was so good at the business. I used to be like,
Dude,
damn.
12 years ago, Dalia was featuring for me in La Jolla.
Holy
And-
shit.
And since then, he has released 6 comedy specials, been on 3 TV shows, and
So
I
what
got
he's-
diabetes
Yeah.
in that same
I
amount of
got
time.
diabetes.
So, yeah.
It's a pain in the ass.
Which
I made-
number?
Number 2.
He's a oneer.
Yeah.
Oh, you like late stage?
Yeah,
that's happening a lot lately.
I got juvenile diabetes as basically as a
Adult.
27-year-old.
No, it happens. It's starting to happen a lot lately. You're not the first person I met will have late stage. But I made the same mistake when I was in San Diego. Maybe when I was like 3 or 4 years in, and I was hosting Comedy Juice a lot. People would come down from LA and they would see me and go, "Man, you need to move to LA." And I was so afraid to come up here because I was like, I just want to be funny. Because when I get up there, I just want to be a beast. And I did. I got funny. I got super funny.
Good.
And then I came up here, and then I was like, oh, you have to learn. That's why people were telling you to come up here sooner, because you have to learn Hollywood. You you're good at comedy, but you got to get good at the game. Mm-hmm. You have to be good at both.
Yeah.
Right?
Because
no one cares.
Really good.
I'm open micer at business.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like I barely got 3. And
I still hate it. Like I just now recently got representation, and it's like I'm so glad that I got the manager that I got, because she's totally
into you.
She's totally into me, and she's totally willing to like give me step by step, because I'm so bad at that other shit. Yeah. So she's totally willing to like,
this is what you need to do.
Right. You need to do A, B, and C in this order right now. Because she doesn't like cringe when I tell her like, I don't know how to do that. You know what I mean? I've never put together a packet. I've never I don't where do I get headshots? Why do I need that? You know, like she's so patient with like helping me. She doesn't do everything for me.
No, but
she sounds amazing, because I don't know how to do any of that stuff either.
She's fucking kick ass, man.
Like I've gone to other comics if I got a packet, like a writing packet or something, and I wanted to submit it, I'd go to like Ian Edwards or Jeff Danish and Ryan O'Neal and be like, hey, this is the like, show me yours. And then I'll show you what I wrote, and then I'm like, oh, that's, I messed up my Chelsea Handler because I thought, oh, I know what I'm doing. And then I wrote all what I thought was these great jokes. 2 of the people I wrote about were dead. I didn't even know it. Anyway, but if I would have asked somebody, they would have told me Chelsea really liked when you added like a video, or like it's just little tiny things like that. Whereas I had a manager that had other people on that show or knew that and could guide me through it, I would have gotten maybe closer, whatever. But my thing wasn't even regarded. It was just like, whatever, this is terrible.
Every time someone's like, hey, why don't you submit a packet for that show? I'm like, I honestly don't even know what that is. The show? And I'm like, the show or
they give you
packet.
A breakdown.
No.
They give you a breakdown of what you're supposed to do.
Paperwork has always been.
But it freaks me out, paperwork.
Yeah, dude. Like, because I was, I spent my first life in the Marine Corps. And
thank you for your service.
There you go.
Yeah, but most of the success there is based on paperwork. I mean, tremendous amounts of fucking paperwork. And that's how I knew I didn't want to be a Marine, because I was like, because I watched people excel that way, where they just knew how to fill out the right form and when.
Wow.
And how many points it would get you on the scale, and who was getting promoted. Because it's like the way they promote people is like they know in like 6 months these 3 people are retiring, so it's gonna be 3 spots. So if I submit my paperwork right now, it's like
I'll be on top of the pile,
right. And I'm just one of those people where it's like everything is a packet in the Marine Corps. Everything is a packet.
Holy shit! I did not know that.
Yeah, everything.
That's
I mean, if you
crazy.
want a fucking screwdriver, you got to fill out, and I'm not exaggerating. You got to fill out 6 forms. You know what I mean? You got to fill out 6 forms, because a copy has to go to each person, and everybody wants an original. So you got to fill out 6 forms, file them in the right place, put them, and if one thing's wrong, it's gonna get sent back, and it's like you have to. Everything is a form. Everything is a packet. And I just was like, I can't do this. I will not excel at this. I'm good at everything else. I'm good at the physical, the shooting, my job.
I can't imagine my dad filling out paperwork
That's what I was
in
thinking
any
about my
way,
grandpa.
shape, or form.
Was your dad a Marine too?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Ask him. It's all about them packets and shit.
I didn't do shit, girl.
But he
That's
probably
what
had a
he'd say.
secretary or something, right? What was he? How long was he in?
He was in during Korea. I don't know how long.
Oh yeah.
Good question.
Yeah, my grandpa, same thing. He got drafted, and then he just joined the Marine Corps because he didn't want to be in the Army.
Well, shit was probably different back then.
Yeah, he joined the Marines so he can kill people and not have to go to jail for it. So everything's working out.
Yeah, there's no way my grandpa was filling out paperwork.
Because you know what's happened.
I'm an excellent at
what happened in
paperwork.
a long time. Well, one, I was in an air wing, so that's a whole different thing with a bunch of equipment and shit. But 2 is like every unit has a budget, and at the end of every fiscal year, which I think was in October.
Okay.
It would be this race to spend all the money. So that because if you didn't spend all the money, you couldn't ask for more money. Because like, oh, you didn't spend all the money you had. Why you need more money, right? So at every fiscal year, every unit would try to right. So I feel like for years and years and years and years, it's been this. Because you know what it is? What happens is people, whenever somebody gets power that can't handle power, which is most people, they feel like they have to do something with it to justify having it.
Yeah.
So even if shit is working just perfectly, they like, you know what? We need an extra form right there. Yeah. You know. So then after 10 years, it's like it's 10 forms that was added by 8 different people
for
no reason.
Right. Just so they could, so everybody knew they would left their mark.
Yeah.
Right. So and people do that around here too.
Oh yeah.
You know, so it's like, why are you changing that?
I was never in the Marines, but I worked in a lot of restaurants. I always refer to that as restaurant manager syndrome.
Oh yeah.
It's just people who've never deserved to be in charge of anyone or ever got anyone's respect for any other reason.
When I got out the service, somebody told me this in the service, and when I got out, I worked at Intel, and then I worked at the Pentagon, and then I started doing stand up. And what I know
normal path everyone
right but all in all those situations it was always true. 10% of the people have no fucking business being there at all. 10% of the people know what the fuck they're doing, and everybody else is just watching those 10% try not to lose their job.
Yeah,
it's the same in comedy, it's the same in corporate America, it was the same in the military. It's like most of the people here 10% of these people shouldn't even be here.
Yeah. Josh Nassers and whatnot.
10% of the people are fucking killers, and everybody else is just doing an impression of a comedian.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
And,
but you can make money. Like you can make money doing
a lot of people are doing good with their impressions.
Yeah. I'm not hating on those people, but it's like, but everybody knows who the fucking killers are and who the people are that they're just going to make a living. You know. But and I used to get mad at those people, but now I'm like, you know what? They know something I don't, you know?
Right. You can learn from them.
You sure the fuck can.
Yeah.
I always, when I started, I was naive enough just to think everyone in comedy was some super funny person that was like, I need to do this professionally.
Oh, no.
Then, basically working here for like 3 months and watching people go up, I'm like, most of these people aren't funny at all. They literally just figured out the formula.
Yeah.
Well, that's all it is. Just, how long ago was that?
That was 16 years ago.
Yeah, because I'm here too long. I'm here since '93, so I watched people that had this act, literally just an act, and if they had a stretch, they couldn't because they memorized 20 minutes.
Oh God, that's terrifying.
And like we had the one guy was on over 15 minutes, whatever he had, like his best whatever he gave in that 15 minutes, and there was no other comics here. And at that moment, it was the early 90s. I don't think there was any door guys that Mitzi approved that we could put up, and we were all panicking, running around. And the manager, I said, well, just stretch him. And the manager looked at me and goes, what's he going to do, start over? And I go, if that happens, I want to see it.
Yeah, no bullshit.
So then it became a joke, like, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
And then somebody would show up and he'd be like, oh, here's your next comic. I never saw anybody get so excited.
Thank God. I don't have to keep going.
Possibly going to have to stretch.
It's like seeing the Coast Guard when your ship going down. Oh, there they go. Fuck.
But that has since gone away. There's a few that still try to do that old school kind of, I have my act. This is my act. Yeah. I don't vary from my act. This is what I do.
I was arguing with somebody about that recently. Like, I'm not gonna put their name in the street, but
it's too easy to see.
Yeah,
so you can say it. We have a disclaimer.
But there's people that think because we were arguing about the merits of those late positions.
The late
because some comics don't like them because it's the shit spot or whatever, right? And it's like, I mean, I don't prefer.
Who wouldn't want to go up in front of a giant crowd?
But to me, it's like those spots are like, I described it like
the growth spots.
It's like you know how sometimes Superman would have to fight without his powers, like Lex Luthor would have kryptonite or something.
Yeah.
And it's like that's what it is. It's like when you go up in them spots, it's like your regular shit ain't working. The shit you know by heart reciting, it ain't working.
Nope.
It's like, what do you do then?
You have to be you.
If you a comic, because you're gonna eat shit a lot.
Yeah.
But every now and then you're gonna have a fucking awesome set when there's fucking 10 people in there.
And you're gonna pull something out of your ass that you didn't know was there.
And that is, to me, that is what makes you.
That's the path to
the
greatness,
growth spots.
man.
Yeah,
that's how you get good.
It's like, why you think Dave Chappelle, when he pop in,
He goes late.
Yeah, he pop in at 1:30.
So does it tell?
He could easily, nobody's stopping him. He could easily pop in at fucking
You
at,
can do
at
9:15
10 o'clock,
and
right?
do 3 hours,
And nobody would bat it out. He'll pop in at 1:30 and stay here till 4 a.m.
Yeah,
I know
because
that's
but he likes that kind of feel of like these people are tired. These people have seen everything.
Yeah,
and now I got to bring something to the table
if
other than my
he's
celebrity.
So fucking famous that's the closest he can get to a challenge.
I was going to say, if Dave Chappelle shows up at 10 o'clock from a packed room, they will literally laugh at every syllable that comes out of his mouth.
It's like you can't get
a good read on it.
I've told the story before, but Robin Williams came in 15 years ago, and someone had a benefit shit going on in the main room, and everyone was super excited. Like, oh, Robin said he's going to go up, and he went up in the main room and just destroyed. And it was cool just to watch, oh, that's, he's crushing. He's still got tons of energy. And then he comes out in the hallway, and someone was like, hey, do you want to go up in the OR? And there was maybe 15 people in there. And he was like, oh, yeah, sure. And so they put him up next in the OR, and he went up, and he was doing basically the exact same set, and it was just silent. It was midnight in the OR, and the crowd was just kind of eh. And then he got about 5 minutes into a set, and he was like, sometimes I forget that people laugh at me because I'm famous. And then I come into the original room, and I'm reminded that I am not a funny comedian most of the time.
That's so good.
But that's exactly
can I ask,
how it really is.
Can I ask y'all, because I don't know if y'all know one of my favorite comics.
Who is your favorite comic?
Well, I don't know if I could pick one favorite.
Isn't that hard?
But yeah, I think that's dumb too. It's it depends on what mood I'm in. It's
because
it's like
everything
music,
changes.
right? But somebody I really, really, really respect is Whoopi Goldberg, and she never comes here. And I just wonder, have y'all ever seen her? Has she ever popped in?
I've only seen her when Richard Pryor was here. I've never seen her perform here.
Jesus Christ.
But Richard Pryor was doing every Wednesday. First, he was doing Monday, Wednesday, Fridays for a year when he was pretty sick at that point. And he brought it down to only Wednesdays, and every celebrity would come out of the woodworks to see him
because they knew it was going to be
it was pretty much the last hurrah, if you will. But she sat in the original room with Mitzi, and they laughed like cackling old ladies. It was funny, just because she did her one woman show in the belly room. Whoopi, I can't think of the name of it, but it was one of my favorites. What the hell is the name of the one woman show that made her famous?
I can't remember.
My brain is dead. I can just think of the characters.
She was the first.
So good.
She was the first because she looked. My mom looks like her a little bit, right?
Okay.
And I remember her. She was the first black woman I saw on TV.
So for you, that made.
Yeah, I was like
whoa.
What the fuck? And it was and I remember that she was saying things that people didn't say. They was I was like,
her characters were
how
so
why is she getting away with this? Why they letting her get away with this? And then Jumpin' Jack Flash.
I was about to say, one of my favorite movies is Jumpin' Jack Flash.
Oh, yeah.
I remember watching it as a kid. My parents would always my house is the house in Kansas City where all the kids could gather and watch rated R movies.
Okay.
And so, most of my friends had religious parents who would never let them watch that shit. But my parents just had a VHS of everything, so we would just watch over and over. But when in Jumpin' Jack Flash, when she goes, I got shit that would make your dick fall off. I remember thinking it was so funny. And then for weeks at my middle school, whenever I'd see certain friends, they would say that shit. You don't want any of this. I got shit that would make your dick fall off.
That's funny.
God, she's so funny.
She is.
I was obsessed with her. I think she's terrific.
I wish she would come back to performing.
I never saw her perform here. But she would come in during a few times she came in during Richard.
I just want to meet her.
Yeah. Chevy Chase. I mean, it was like a who's who of everyone that would come and just sit and watch Richard. It was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Now, do you like Richard?
Oh yeah. I like Richard, but I didn't learn really that much about Richard till after I started stand up.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So
I'm an '80s kid, so I came up when his albums were hot.
I mean, because Whoopi was the first black woman I saw on TV, and Eddie Murphy was the first. That's the first thing I remember ever seeing.
Yeah.
is Delirious.
Yeah.
But I love Carlin too. I love Dom Herrera.
One of my favorites.
Dom,
Also one of my best friends.
So that's how I started. So Dom, when I was still in the service, my platoon, we were at Hooters in PB.
That's exactly where you should be fighting.
Yeah, and we ran into Dom Herrera. And he saw we was in the military or whatever. He told us to stop by the show. And I don't know if it was I remember
his family's all military, so he gets excited.
And I don't remember if it was in La Jolla or where, but it was somewhere in San Diego he was performing. And I remember us going there, and I'd never been to see a live show before. And he fucking destroyed this place.
So good.
I mean, I cried. I was crying, laughing.
Yeah.
And then he came out and did an encore. He did an extra 20 minutes and was even funnier than his hour.
You're saving up his good shit.
Right. I was like, he got bored.
A pro.
Right.
A pro's pro, Domin.
And I remember after that, I think that was the first live show any of us had been to. And I remember after that, everyone kept.
What year was that? Do you know?
It had to be somewhere between 03 and 06.
Wow, that's killer.
So then after that, I remember everybody in my platoon kept telling me I should try to do stand up, and I wrote a joke. I wrote a few jokes actually, but I was scared. I was just scared. I didn't try it till.
So you weren't doing it at that point.
No, I was. Whew. And I remember when I got out in 2006, and I remember at my going away thing. They had set up a little thing, and they like tried to, put me on the spot. Like, all right, they set it up, and the niggas like, all right, bro, do your thing, do your routine. I was like, oh fuck no, and it's weird because at the height of my like tough guyness, I was terrified to bomb in front of my friends.
Oh, who wouldn't be? I'm still terrified.
Like, right.
I never understood people when you start like the first few years when people would be like, yeah, I got like 7 of my friends coming out tonight. I'd be like, why would you want your people?
Dude, every new comic that asks me, I tell them, don't bring your friends to. And they never listen.
Yeah.
They never listen. And I was scared to death for my friends to see me.
Yeah.
Every time, like when
especially the Marines, you guys are razzing each other, like breaking
fucking
balls all day.
Dude,
I'm from South Philly. My friends will throw shit at me if I'm not good.
I did comedy in Kansas City for a little over 2 years before I moved out here. And when I was moving out here, everyone was like, what are you going to do out there? I was like, I'm going to do comedy and, try acting and stuff. And they're like, have you ever done it? I'm like, well, yeah, I do it every week. And they're like, what? And people are like, why didn't you ever tell us? We would have come and supported you. I'm like, I don't want you to see me doing comedy.
That's
fucking
amazing.
Stanford and Sons in Kansas City. I'm up there doing those shitty impressions that I used to do and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Would have been terrible.
Funny.
Dude, I'm 9 years and my mama still has never seen me.
Yeah.
I don't know how you get away with that. My mom's like, I want to see this.
Well, no, I'm sure she's seen my tape.
Okay.
But she hasn't seen it live because watching the tape ain't the same as live,
Yeah.
But it's okay because I feel like the longer it takes, the better I'm gonna be when she sees it.
So, are you from San Diego?
No, I'm from DC. I'm from PG County, Maryland.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice. I know you had an East Coast vibe. That's why.
Yeah. I'm an East Coast guy. I mean, I'm never going back.
But
man, I try not to go at all.
Weather, why? Because of weather, or just because of all kinds of shit?
It's mostly the weather. Yeah. Just because the
fact that there is weather is bad.
Because when I got out, because I was out here for, right after high school, I was out here for the Marine Corps, and I was in San Diego the whole time.
Oh, and San Diego,
right? And then I moved. I moved to
being
Oregon.
with the hottest girl in the world.
Yeah, it's hard to go back. So I moved, I moved to Oregon, and I did the
Oregon.
Yeah, because that's where Intel's headquarters was.
Oh, okay.
And then I got a job back home at the Pentagon, and I when I first got there, when that winter hit, I told my mom, I was like, Mom, if I ever lose this job, I'm getting the fuck out of here. And she thought I was playing. I got laid off. I was gone a week later.
What did you do in the Pentagon?
I was a technician. Same thing I did everywhere else.
Okay, because my cousin Billy works in the Pentagon.
I was
a Marine too.
Facilities resource technician.
Oh,
yeah.
My cousin
that's
Bill
some
Parker.
Technical shit. That means he can't tell us.
No, that's just a fancy name.
I think he's what's that rank? Is it? I forget. I think he's a big, high-ranking Marine over there.
Well, it's because if you ever hear a big fancy title like that with technician at the end, that motherfucker's just a worker bee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because the engineers are the smart people. The technicians are just smart enough to follow the engineer instructions.
Follow the rules, so
the engineers don't do the work, but they do the thinking, and then the technician is the one that goes and lifts shit and bad.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's all I did was just what the smarter people told me to do. You know, it was
no one likes the smarter.
Yeah, they
people,
make up
though.
all that
I learned
bullshit
that a long time ago.
Everybody else that worked there had a college degree, and it was like I could teach a fucking child how to do this.
Yeah,
you know, but it was like.
But did you get a college degree in the service?
No.
Oh, okay.
Nope, I didn't get anything.
He wanted to be a comedian.
Yeah,
smart.
No
I mean,
obviously, I got a
He's
GED. I don't
Hooters.
even have a high school diploma.
Good for you. At least you got your GED.
Yeah,
I have a high school diploma.
I just thought school was always fucking stupid.
It was.
I was smart enough to do it, but I was just like, and I was
Some people just have that they can't deal with that.
Well,
I get it.
I was a foster kid, right? So
okay.
I would change schools so often that it was like, you know, sometimes I would try and then I would move to another school and it didn't count.
Yeah, you were like,
it's like I'm not doing that shit no more. It's like
Yeah.
I'll listen and I'll absorb the shit you saying, but I ain't doing all that motherfucking work. You know, and so all my teachers, if you go back and interview any of my teachers, they'll all tell you how smart I was, but it's like that motherfucker was lazy.
He wasn't motivated. You're like,
Yeah.
maybe it's because you guys
lazy.
all teach bullshit.
I would literally take naps in school.
I love that. So did I. I was a professional at it, by the way. I could sleep through the entire thing.
And I remember going one time. I got moved to
not really a good thing.
I started going
It's
to
impressive.
like the rich people school.
Okay, what does that mean?
Like it was like
exciting.
It was all the
prep?
It was all the white kids with BMWs and shit.
Wow, like a prep
lot of
school
lacrosse
No, it wasn't a prep school. It was just
Oh.
it was in another.
Just a nicer area. Was it public still?
Yeah, it was still public,
Like a
but it was just
90210?
it was just in a nicer part of town where it was like all the kids had cars, you know.
Oh, wow.
And they got to leave campus for lunch and all that, right?
You say campus. Now I know you're talking
yeah.
something real.
And I remember getting there,
Campus.
and I got in this math class where you needed the calculator,
the graphing calculator.
Yeah, you needed the fancy joint. And,
Rick's real smart. It's annoying.
And I got one, and I remember the teacher, but I'm like halfway through the term, right? And
Yeah.
So I go to the teacher and I'm like, I've never used one of these. I have no idea what's going on. Can you just give me a crash course? Blah blah blah. And she was like, no. And then I explained, I was like, actually, I don't know if you understand. Like, I'm a foster kid, and like, I was placed here. Like, I didn't do anything, you know. And I'm just in this situation, and I'm trying to catch up. Can you just give me a booklet or backup? She was like, no. She was just such a fucking cunt about it.
Wow.
Yeah,
and I was like,
terrible.
Now, see, that's where I would start like losing it and like, okay, I'm just gonna knock her the fuck out.
No,
like
that's what they want you to do.
That was my thing.
Yeah.
But
the anger.
But then I just started skipping school, and then one day we got caught smoking weed in the woods. We left school to smoke weed, and the school cops had cameras set up in the woods behind the school.
Smart.
And they had a picture of me with a blunt to my mouth.
And you were like,
that's why you didn't get the booklet.
If the calculator would have been explained to me, I wouldn't have to be here.
Yeah, when they put me in the office and they tried to get me to rat on my boy because they knew we were all smoking, but they didn't have a picture of him.
Right.
You know? And they were trying to get me to snitch on my boy, and I was like, why don't you get at that fucking teacher that wouldn't help me?
Yeah.
You know?
I love that you just bring that up. Like,
Yeah,
it has nothing to do with
they kept trying to hit me with the, young man, if you gonna have a future, and we know which one of y'all is really the deviant, because he was a deviant and a bad influence. But that wasn't what he hadn't like.
But
I wasn't.
You're still not
going
to throw him under the bus.
Right. He also knew where the camera was, so he wasn't hitting a blunt where it could see him.
Right.
That son of a bitch.
He kind of wedged you out there.
Dude, I had one of those
up.
graphing calculators, and I didn't really know how to use it. And there's like a memory on it. There's like a little computer basically, and so my pre-calc teacher would go through and
this is calculus.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Would make sure that you were using the programs or whatever it was he wanted. And so he was going through, and I would start panicking. So I'm like, I never put any of that shit in there. I don't even know what I'm doing with this shit. And so he got to mine, and I had only thing I had on it was I had loaded a bunch of games that my nerdy programmer friend had developed and put them on his calculator, and they put them on mine. There was I had Tetris. I had Tetris on my calculator.
The worm game.
Yeah, worm.
Yeah.
And then I
had you can do that on a calculator.
I had a game called Drug Wars that he developed, where you travel from borough to borough selling different kinds of drugs, and the price goes up. And he goes, "What is this?" And then he sent me to the office because he thought that I was keeping track of the cocaine that I was selling in. Keep in mind, this is Kansas City. He thought I was traveling around the boroughs of New York selling heroin and cocaine, and he's got evidence of the drugs he's selling on there.
Wow.
And so then the principal's like, all right, I'm going to talk to him. And he's like, what is this? I go, oh, my friend made this game. It's like you're a drug dealer and you travel around New York and try and make as much money as you can. He's like, on your calculator? I'm like, yeah, I'm not.
Even the principal was like, I don't even know how to do this.
I'm not paying attention. It's pre-calc. I didn't care.
Pre-calc?
Like my pre-calculus class was in the auto tech room because the teacher was such a chain smoker that he couldn't make it through a full period without smoking.
Oh shit! So he's dead now.
Oh, he's Mr. Ringer's
For
long
sure.
dead. So we would be
Mr. What?
Ringer.
Oh.
Al Ringer. He looked like an actual frog. I don't know how else to describe him. He had giant Marty Schottenheimer glasses and just this scrawny. Looked like a dude who was dying of lung cancer for a decade. But he would teach like for 15 or 20 minutes, and he'd be like, "All right, we're going to take a little break." Then he'd go over and just open the garage door in the auto tech room, just smoke his cigarettes over there. We're all just like, "What the fuck are we doing?"
That would have been.
But I was
me
playing
as a
Drug
teacher.
Wars. Yeah,
that was before secondhand smoke scared the shit out of everybody.
Yeah,
it was always weird because then there'd be like the auto tech kids who were like on open period or whatever, just over there trying to fix a carburetor on a car while we're in pre-calculus class.
That's
she was
hysterical.
absurd. And then they'd be like, "Are you interested in taking calculus next?" I'm like,
No.
If I need to know any of the stuff we learned this year, then I probably shouldn't be because I have no idea what we're talking about.
But I am going to be a drug dealer, so thanks for that.
I do know
That'd
I can
be
make
amazing.
$100K in heroin.
One of the schools I went to was called Crossland, but it was one of those. It was maybe one of the last. Yeah, it was one of the last like vocational schools.
Okay.
And you know what? All them dudes that took vocational shit are making money, and all my friends that went to college are fucking working at Starbucks.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like in
vocation schools were great.
Yeah, they would teach you how to be a barber.
Yeah.
Teach you how to be a mechanic.
If people understood, first of all, the whole system is just set up to make tons of money for the banks.
Right.
Which means college loans and debt and all that bullshit. So that's why they want us to go to college, even though
of course.
70%. Okay. 70% of people have no reason to be going to college.
We're running out of time?
No, I'm next.
Someone's
not here, so.
But we're just going to
you can keep
rough
talking.
it out. Well, is that cool? Are you afraid to be alone?
No, I'm not afraid. I'm wondering why they didn't fucking put me in as somebody in here.
Somebody canceled. Coach. Somebody did put me in, coach.
Yeah.
Vocational schools. Like my brother Johnny went to carpenter school. My sister Karen.
I wish someone would have taught me to be a mechanic.
Yeah.
That's a skill I could actually use, even if it was just to
my
fix
brother
my
Johnny's
own shit.
not a carpenter, but he did go. He looked good in the outfit.
Okay. Whoa, are you from the South? What's going on now?
No, we tease him like him and his best friend Rosario went to carpenter school.
Rosario.
They would work on like let's wear the big construction boots, and we used to call him GQ Johnny. Like he would just go out like all dressed up to class, but he was just trying to get girls. He didn't care about really learning.
That's what it's all about anyway.
Yeah, I mean,
as soon as I realized
that's why men
college
do anything.
That's true. That's true. I have 6 brothers, so I'm aware of it. But my sister Karen went to hairdressing school while she was in high school, because my mom made us go to Catholic school. So she went to an all-girl Catholic school, but then would get like a half a day to go to the vocational Bach. It was called Bach, and it was a public school. They had it in there. So she learned to hairdress while she was in high school.
And now she's making all that bread.
Well, she was doing that for years, but she switched it up. She went to insurance. That's a pain in the ass to be a hairdresser. But for years, she was making good money.
I would have loved, looking back now, like there's no reason why I was taking advanced mathematics class to do what I do for a living.
Yeah, so
but it was just like my parents being like, you should try and get as far ahead as you can. You're going to need it for college. And me being like, I guess you go to college. Okay. But like, I don't even know how to change the oil on my car. I tried one time to change my girlfriend's oil in college, and she was like, I need you to change my oil. I was like, I don't know how to do that. And she was like, what? Just watch a video online. I'm like, all right.
No, I was taught how to do that. The first time somebody actually, my Marine friends, they taught me everything. They taught me how to drive, all that. And the first time I changed oil, I was like, I'm glad I learned how to do this, but now I'm going to pay a motherfucker to do this.
Yeah, I'm not doing it.
Because I know
1999, one,
I know
two.
Right. I know what's going on, and I know that I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, she basically made me feel like I wasn't a man. And so I was like, fine, I'll fucking do it. I watched the video. I'm like, I got this. And I changed the oil in
Did
her
her car blow up?
Geostorm, and she called me like 4 hours later. She was driving somewhere, and she was like, "My car is burning on the side of the road." I'm like, "Yeah, well,
I was
Jiffy
hoping.
Lube wouldn't have done that to you.
Hey, they
you
might
wanted
have.
you wanted a real man to change your oil."
That's
So
funny.
I'm not a Jiffy
still
Lube fan.
no
but
idea
yeah.
why she cheated on me to this day. No idea.
Rick, you never brought up the burning Geo. Now I know why she did it.
Fucking storm, bro.
God damn it. She's something else. Look at Danny's down here stealing them. Yeah, I think Funch is canceled tonight. So we all moved down 15 minutes.
Oh, okay.
That's So were you wanting to be a comic as a kid?
No.
Never, right? Like that's me too. Isn't that weird?
I thought I always wanted to try it, but no, I didn't want to try it until I wasn't a funny kid.
Okay.
I was a very serious person. That's why like my family don't even take this seriously yet because
they're like, what is he doing?
You're a comedian, because they still don't know that I'm legit like a professional comedian, right? Because they haven't. Because I think most people are like, if the TV hasn't said your name, then you ain't, you know. So it's like, and they also know me as a very
really made your family sound kind of country.
Well, no, no, they're not very country, but I was just a very serious kid.
Yeah.
I was not a joking.
Yeah, so you weren't. I was a goofy kid, but I never wanted to be a stand-up.
No,
I just thought, you know,
I thought I was gonna be a poet or a rapper or something.
Okay, so you had real bizarre dreams. No, I'm kidding.
No, honestly, my only dream was just to get the fuck up out of there and like come back successful.
Ooh.
You know. But then I got the nice little corporate job, and I fucking hated it.
Yeah, I can't imagine you corporate.
Yeah.
I can't imagine me corporate. So when I see other people doing it, I always look like, oh, that must hurt.
I think I started just to sabotage myself. Like I was just like, I fucking hate this. I was making good money, good hours, but it was like I was just working and not doing anything.
Well, you're just you weren't satisfying a certain part of you,
right?
So it was
I just
bugging you.
I needed what I was doing to mean something.
There you go.
You know, and it's like I went from the military where like they tell you everything you do means something, even though that's kind of debatable. But you feel like it, like you have a purpose. Then you get out and you like working at McDonald's or doing whatever, working in some corporate factory or something, and you're just like, if I died right now, this company would keep moving. Nobody would die. Nothing serious.
I always said that. Like people would say, if you left the Comedy Store, it would fall apart. And I'm like, no, it wouldn't. This place has been here forever.
Oh, yeah.
It's always been falling apart. It's always been a problem, but it always still stands. Like
this place ain't going nowhere.
It's the same shit, but they meant like because back in the day, like you were saying, you have to do everything at the comedy club in San Diego.
Right.
The American Comedy Club?
No,
the other one, Madhouse. I'm sorry. So you would do everything. Well, that's what I would do here when I was a waitress here.
Wow.
Like I would do, if the toilets were overflowing, I was doing that. If the manager couldn't figure out how to set the alarm, I would set the alarms. You couldn't turn the lights on, I would turn the lights on. Like every single job I did here, but I only really wanted to wait tables and be an actress. So I had no interest in comedy. I used to get annoyed that I'd have to watch comics. But it was such a lax job that it was easy enough to come, or you know what I mean? Like come and like you were asking earlier what the turnaround was, and I truly think it was, cleaning it up, getting rid of, like Eric Anderson and Adam Egget are truly responsible for the turnaround because, Adam was already here as a manager, but when they cleaned house and got rid of Tommy and kind of like cleaned up the BS that was happening here, they, made it a real place. No, get lax.
So what effect was the bullshit people having? Was it just that just make certain people not want to come around, or? Yeah,
because it was just like, we had people that would run shows here that would like also sell weed, and so like they're trying to sell tickets and weed at the door. Like it just, so it was always shady. It always had some kind of shady element to it because Mitzi, her health was declining and she wasn't here as much. When she was coming in, things were fine ish. It was still dead because she refused a lot of things. She didn't want to change. you couldn't get lineups. We couldn't put lineups out. If a manager would call or an agent would say, "Hey, can I have your lineups for the week so I could see who's performing?" She would go, "No, they're gonna come and steal my jams and jellies." I'm like, "What?" And she was like, "Those are my comics." And I'm like, "Yeah, but they could get famous or work, from another." And she wouldn't let them. She's like, "They're here to develop." Like that was her little thing. And so no, she wouldn't advertise, nothing. So we were like hustling, selling tickets and stuff on the street. We had street teams, we had promoters that we would send out. There was no social media, obviously, but instead of paying for advertising here and there on radio and whatnot, she would just have young comics run a street team and go basically like they do in New York, bar and sell the bunch of tickets. But then that turned into a whole scam, so we had to stop that.
Damn, everything turns into a scam.
But that's what I'm saying. The greed and the idiocy of putting comics that are in a desperate spot already
in charge of money,
right?
I know.
So that's you can't do that. It has to be professional. As much as we want, like she would always be like, "Oh, he's a comic. He'll do it for $25." I'm like, no, he doesn't really want to. Nobody can live off $25 a week, so he's going to rob you. Yeah, and she just wouldn't. She didn't care.
Yeah.
Even when she knew they were stealing from her, she's like, "It's okay." She would say that, like, for certain people. I mean, but then she would find out how bad it was, and she'd be like, "Get rid of him." I'm like, "Yeah, but you." She goes, "I thought he was taking like a couple dollars. It wasn't like."
Oh, right.
So, like they were reselling those tickets, and sometimes they were like the tickets were $10. They were selling them for like $5 to somebody, and then taking them back and selling them to somebody else for another $10. Like it was hundreds of dollars that they were stealing. Like it was really building up, and I was like, fuck. People were coming with the same tickets they already sold to somebody else. Like it was so bad.
Oh my God.
And we just had to honor them because we were like, fuck. How many tickets are out there? And it took us years to be like, God damn, you still have this ticket? Or did you dig this person up because he died 4 years ago? But that's how it was. It was so shady here. And there's like comics that still won't come back because they're afraid of this place.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that are afraid of this place. But you know what, though? I think some of that, though, is... it's like some of the reputation is residual, because there's new comics that are like, I don't know, I heard stories, and I'm like, no. But
let them hear it. Keep them away. We don't need them.
But also,
no, I'm kidding.
I think a lot of people are just intimidated too by the fact that this is an intimidating place especially when you're new. But also, there is a clear, defined hierarchy here.
Absolutely.
And a lot of other places in town, they pretend like there isn't a hierarchy, even though there is. And so everyone will like be supportive, or at least talk to you that way.
Yeah.
And there isn't a list that's saying you're 9th, you're 10th.
Right.
You're not on this list. You're in that other list. You know what I mean? It's like here the Comedy Store will tell you what you are to them. And I think some people can't handle that because they've never experienced that.
Yeah.
And because it's
intimidating,
especially for people that have like been in the game, been on the road, and then they get sick of that road shit, or they get sick of getting on the minimum, and they decide to move to LA, and they come here. Yep. Nobody gives a fuck what they did wherever they were.
It sucks. I mean, I have people high up, I have people in the middle, I have people low that ask me all the time, "How do I get in the store? How do I get in the store?" He's like, and I look at them like, "You got no shot, buddy." I mean, I hate to say it, but it's like, I feel bad, but they've been doing great things for a long time on the road and whatnot, but that shit's not going to fly here because the bar was raised too.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, if you have to ask how to get in the store, then you're not in a position to get in the store.
So right.
That's
true too.
You have to already know the right people. Because that's what I'm saying. Like, if you,
well, how did you get in the store? Because then maybe people can hear that.
How did I get in the store? Well, Asan, I know Asan was my friend from San Diego. And he started working here first.
Yeah.
So he won the showcase or whatever,
Oh, okay.
And he started working here first, and then so
he won the showcase where like they had something in La Jolla or
no, they had a showcase here. He
okay.
drove up here to do the showcase
for Adam,
right?
Or,
for Adam,
okay.
And then I think, and I don't know if he won. I don't know,
right? Because he used to be a door guy in La
I
Jolla.
think he did work
or
at La
something,
Jolla, right?
Yeah.
But he but in any event, he won the show. Well, the first time, yeah, he did work at La Jolla because the first time I came up here, he said he was coming up here from La Jolla, him and another comic, and he just let them think that I was. So I got a spot based on them just assuming I worked at La Jolla, even though they didn't know for sure.
Right.
And then he started working here, and then they knew me already, so I got a spot on Potluck, And then that first day I got a spot on Potluck, did well. That same night I got pulled on Kill Tony. And I did really well.
I tell everybody to do Kill Tony. Yeah.
And then then I started. I got a couple more, friends and family spots. And then Adam saw me the next time I was here, and he was like, "Hey, come back next week. Let me check you out again." And I came back the next week. And he was like, "Yo, start calling in."
Yeah.
And then I started calling in. And then I would get a couple spots here, a couple spots. But I just made sure I did
but
well.
Development, like he wanted you on his radar,
yeah,
right?
But it wasn't development. It was really just showcasing.
Of course.
That's what I'm saying. It ain't about developing no more. It's about showcasing.
Yeah.
It's like every spot I try to do, because I had enough material where I made sure I tried to do something different every time, and I try to do my good shit every time. I wasn't coming here practicing. I was going to open mics and practicing. Yeah. I was coming here with shit that worked. And it was still, I wasn't afraid to do new shit here, but it wasn't going to be some shit I just thought of. It was going to be something I ran by 5 or 6 mics before, So that was my whole thing, was just showing him like I'm past ready,
right?
And
I'm for real ready.
Yeah, and then I think, and then he asked me to be a door guy, and I did, and most of that time I was homeless. I was in a homeless shelter.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. So the whole time I was working here, I was in a homeless shelter. And when I got fired.
My God.
He was so mad when he had to fire me too, because he was like, I should have never fucking hired you, because when you get fired, you automatically banned for 6 months.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, you banned from the property for 3 months. You banned from spots for 6 months.
Who in the hell came up with that rule? I don't remember that.
From what I was told, it's always been. It hasn't always been those amounts, but that's always been the case. And I think the reason is, it makes sense when you think about it. The reason is that they don't want getting fired to be nothing. Because if you could still get your spots, you'd be like, fuck, fire me then. I'm still gonna get my spots, So as long as
there's gotta be some kind of repercussion. I see what you're saying.
Because you sure the fuck ain't losing no big money.
Yeah,
from getting fired.
Well, because Mitzi, if she fired you, she just never wanted. You were never getting spots anyway. You weren't getting spots, so there was she would come in and Rick and we always joke about it. She would say, "All right, I want to see all the door guys," and I could always tell when she asked as a waitress when she asked to see the door guys, because I'd see people scatter, and I'm like, "Fuck!" Like there's people standing at the door, like customers that nobody was seating, and I'm like, "Where'd the door guy go?" But they were hiding from Mitzi, because if she said, "I want to see all the door guys," they'd go up. And if they weren't good, she'd fire them that night, mid-shift. She didn't give a shit.
Yeah, but that's your time to shine.
Yeah, some people made it through.
Go up and smash that shit.
Most people did not make it through.
Damn.
Because they were new. That's what I'm saying. They were newer comics.
Oh, yeah.
Like, like Rick somehow got passed.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, he had 3 minutes of material, got passed, did a 15-minute set in the main room. That the light was broken. He was dying up there. This is like he had like 4 impressions that he would do. So he's like basically just pulling shit out of his ass that was bombing unbelievably. And then she put him back, put him in okay, we'll put you in the belly room. We'll develop you a little more.
Oh wow.
Because she realized, oh shit, he can't even do the full 15.
Oh wow.
But most comics couldn't. So they would just be at the store learning / getting on those open mics and stuff. And then she would be like, all right, but what if you had a bad set? Like you go up, you think you're killing, but in her eyes,
I don't know.
She was nutty butters like that.
But I just never thought about it like that. I was like, because you know what it is for me. Every single time I have to showcase, I'm ready. Like I'm not gonna
No,
bomb.
that's good.
I'm gonna kill a showcase. Like because I know, because you know what it is, when I started in San Diego, I was fucking crazy. I was a crazy person.
I love that.
And I would because because you know how every comedy club owner is fucking crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened is Robert would, like, I would be seating people, and he would just at the last minute be like, "Hey, I need you to host tonight, or I need you to feature tonight."
Oh Jesus!
You know what I mean? So being new,
You're like, okay.
I was like, "Put." So I would walk around this tree in my backyard, and I would just do my 25 over and over and over and over again. I did it like 15 times a day.
Amazing.
For a few hours a day, so that if it ever happened, I was so it was like when it's time to shine, I'm ready to fucking go. You know what I mean?
I love that.
So if I got fired if I got fired from that, I would be
pissed, but
I would be upset, but I would be like, I'm taking my shot, because what the fuck else is the point of being here?
Mm-hmm.
It's like.
Her thing was, if you showcase, this is a 6-month thing. If you showcase for her and she didn't like it, she'd be like, just come back in 6 months. Like, not she didn't like it. If she was like, see something but thinks you're not ready, she would tell you to come back in 6 months. Then you have to wait 6 months to re-showcase for it. That's the only 6-month thing I've ever heard of.
But wasn't she like, oh, you just come back the next month and be like, you told me to come back 6 months ago?
No, when she was that bad, she wasn't coming in as much.
Okay, wow.
Yeah. No, but before, she would remember your material that you did, and she would fuck with you. She did it to so many comics. Brett Ernst. No, like after she goes, you did that joke when you for a year and a half ago you showcased for me, and Brett was like, you fucking remember that? Like she did. She knew her shit.
Wow.
Yeah, she was on it. She just had her little whatever.
I do kind of wish that she had been around to pass me, or not pass me or whatever. But
she would have loved your preparedness.
Oh yeah.
But you're funny. You're hands down like hilarious. That's why I was like, how long is this guy doing?
I'm way lazier. I'm way lazier now.
Are you still homeless? I don't like
No.
Give me anxiety.
No. I'm far from homeless now. But I just at the time, I didn't necessarily have to be, but I remember when my first like week here, I was crashing on another comic's couch.
Got it.
And I was like, that was my plan. I was like, I'll just go from couch to couch to couch.
Couch surf. That's a big thing out here.
But I remember I was there for 2 weeks. And I remember one of their roommates had like family coming in town. And so I had to find somewhere else to be. And I remember just thinking to myself like, oh, this might not be something I can fucking do. You know? Like just last minute having to find somewhere to stay and crash from place to place to place. I was like, what kind of fucking plan was that? You know? And so I went to the VA and I was like, yo, I need somewhere to stay. Mm-hmm. You know? And they were like, they put me in one place and another place. And I actually got kind of lucky. I ended up getting in Hollywood, which is like the best homeless shelter.
Okay.
Like when I was in the Marine Corps, I got put in San Diego, which is the best possible place I could have got stationed in.
Right.
Out of the whole Marine Corps.
Oh, yeah.
And when I was homeless, I got put in the best shelter that you could possibly get put in.
That's amazing.
It was still fucking shit, but it was better than
right. But it's better than
because it was just for veterans, and it was just for Iraq and Afghanistan veterans.
Okay.
So it was all people my age. It was no like, Vietnam vets and shit like that. It was all people my age that been through the same shit.
I would feel like you have to separate.
Oh, well, it's just that, you know what it is that...
because people think, you didn't have it as bad as me, or...
Well, it's just people from different eras got different shit going on.
Right.
And so it's just easier to give everybody all the services. It's like to cater the services to these people than it is to, like, try to take care of everybody, because then you end up taking care of nobody.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, but it wasn't that horrible. It wasn't the worst time of my life, but it was...
But it's still pretty amazing, though, that you got through it. I mean, because what a hell of a story that you have to tell.
But I feel like that's part of. I feel like every comic is like, I slept in my car.
We had a lot more. Like I mean, we were joking. We have this guy Mac Lindsay. I don't know if you ever met Mac, but Mac used to come out. He was living in a van, and we would always fuck with him in this van. But he would come out of the main room, that shower in the back. He would come out and stand on the main room stage in his robe, brushing his teeth. I'm like, dude, this ain't your house.
Oh, yeah. I sometimes I go back there and I see body wash and shit. I'm like, who the fuck is showering back here?
But I thought they shut it down back there. I don't know.
Maybe
they lock it up now. But before, nothing was locked.
Yeah.
I mean, codes were shut. Like, you couldn't get in the front door or any of the side door. But once you were in the building, you could go anywhere you want. Now it's all.
Oh, yeah. But would they let you, like, let's say you was a fitness person and you ran here and you wanted to shower when you got here. Would you think they would have a problem with that?
Oh, I don't think so. They just don't want people
living here.
Because there were a few.
Yeah.
It wasn't just one.
Yeah.
But they would come and shower. I mean, shit, Josh Martin lived in his car. You know, I mean, there was a lot of comics that lived in their car for a long time.
But I feel like now it's become so romanticized that, like, the fucking trust fund comics, they come here and they live in their car, even though they don't have to, you know.
Yeah, you're like, but you have money.
Right. Why the fuck are you living in your car?
I mean, it's a nice BMW, but let's get a place. It's crazy.
Sell that BMW and get a fucking rent a room. What are you doing?
Do anything. Because at the shelters, don't they have a time? You have to be in a certain
That was
time?
my biggest challenge. There was not only was there a curfew.
Curfew is what I.
There was piss tests too, random piss tests.
Oh.
So you couldn't they tested you couldn't drink or do no drugs because they would do a breathalyzer too. And I remember, and so I remember, and the thing is, you had to get a job because there were phases that determine what privileges you got or whatever, right? And to get from phase one where you basically got to do nothing, you know, you had to get a job, or go to school, and to get them to count comedy as my job, I had to agree to do a piss test and a breathalyzer every time I came in the house.
Oh, dang.
So but I didn't have a curfew like everybody else.
Okay.
So people complained about it. So the thing is, people was hating on me because I ain't have a curfew when I was supposed to. But so I had to fucking not fail none of them tests. You know what I mean? And I remember one time coming in, I got dropped off by some comics and they had a fucking they were drinking a beer in the car. And I was like, I'll throw it away for you. And the way he handed me the bag, I grabbed it wrong and it spilled all over my sleeve. Yeah. And I walked in the house just reeking of beer.
Oh.
But I still passed the test. But it was just one of them things where it's like, and then right at the end, like the last like month, I realized, everyone in here is smoking weed, and they had a way of beating the test that I just hadn't paid attention to. Fuck. And then I started smoking weed again. But yeah, it was a learning experience in my life. Like I needed some of the things that they did there. I still think they did some fucked up shit, but that's a whole other thing.
I feel like everywhere it's some fucked up shit, but
you know what the shit is though is I feel like because people complain about all the scummy, shitty people in Hollywood, but honestly, all the worst people I know are comics, but all the best people I know are comics.
Yeah,
I met because I was just talking to Steve. I can't think of his fucking name.
Simone?
Steve Simone, nicest guy in the world, right?
The nicest guy in the world.
And we were just talking about this yesterday, how every now and then you get that boost from somebody, whether it's a compliment, or like somebody ahead of you, whether it's a compliment or they just say good said, or whether they just give you a gig or something where it's like, oh, okay, I'm not wasting my time. So that's how I made it through that time. It was like I could have moved back home or well, actually moving back home wasn't really an option, but I could have gone back to San Diego where I could afford it, you know.
Right.
But
what's funny? I could have gone back to San Diego where I could afford it.
Yeah, but
it's the most expensive place to live in America.
People believed in me. I mean, Adam believed in me first. First of all, he was just like, "You're fucking funny." You know?
He's obsessed with you. He's like, "I'm making him famous. I don't care."
I fucking hope so, because I'm ready.
But I love that. I think that's amazing because you need.
Me too.
You need that person. Like he needs that person to inspire him, just like you need him to inspire you.
Yeah. Well, I told him,
you know what I mean? Like
I appreciate him so much, and it's like I don't want to kiss his ass. You know, I never did that. I never tried to kiss his ass or buy him gifts or none of that shit.
Oh, he wouldn't like that anyway because he'd feel that you're trying to do something.
But it's like what I learned about Hollywood is nobody wants to be the first one on your dick.
Yeah.
As soon everybody is waiting for somebody to hop on your dick before because the only thing they scare more of being the first one is being the last one, right?
Yeah.
So it's like
I gotta get a bigger dick,
right? No, but I mean, but you know what I mean? Is like nobody want to be the first one to fuck with you.
No, I know,
and
you're absolutely right.
And he didn't need all that. He
didn't care.
He saw that I was funny and was like, I'm fucking with you. You know what I mean? As much as I can, because I don't know how much power he has or doesn't have, or how much. But back then, I'm sure he has way more power now than he did back then.
Yeah.
You know, but as much as he could fuck with me, he did.
Yeah.
Just because I was funny, not because I had nothing to offer him, not because I had no credits.
Right.
None of that. I ain't have shit going on. Right. So
just a bunch of gold.
Yeah, and I know for a fact too that other little shit that's happened for me in my career has been because he has, put a little bird in somebody's ear and didn't say, like, he never takes credit for it.
I love that.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Whereas like it's every time I thought about like I need to get the fuck out of here. There will always be something like that. Somebody like him to be like, I fuck with you. Hey kid, don't quit. Like one time it was Dalia. One time it was Steve Simone.
Yeah.
Another time it was Tom Segura. I was about to leave like 6 months ago.
Oh wow.
And
because it's hard. I mean, it's not like.
And Christina P. and Segura was like, "You better fucking not. You a pay regular. You better not leave." I had just gotten past.
Love that.
But they were like, "No, don't." I was like, "Well, because my attitude was, I was like, everyone keeps telling me I'm so funny."
But nothing's happening.
But funny ain't, so if it ain't leading nothing, then funny don't matter. So I might as well get the fuck up out of here. I might as well go to New York.
You better not.
Right? But then she broke it down like, no, motherfucker, like, you 3 years here, you pass, you go to New York, you gotta start over.
Yeah, you do have to start over.
It's already people fucking with you here. You just don't see it yet, but just fucking don't leave.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, well, like, what am I thinking? Like, how entitled am I to be like, it all should be happening now, But it's like.
But we all get like that. That's normal. That's like
you know what it is? The lesson I had to learn was that because you feel like you go from nothing to. And you feel like getting shit is the next step.
Yeah.
But it really isn't. Not getting shit is the next step.
Yeah.
So it's this whole phase where you go from nothing and then not getting shit. But not getting shit still feels like nothing.
Yeah, of course.
So you don't realize that you've taken that next step because you're being considered for things.
Yeah.
But you ain't getting them.
Yeah.
So you feel like you ain't getting shit.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden out of the blue you get one thing. And again, once one person starts fucking with you, everybody else starts going, "Oh my god, they fucking with him over there. Let me see what he's about." So it's one of the
chicks, bro.
Yeah.
Chicks, bro, is right.
That's
Rick's
how it
back,
is.
guys.
Plus, is also I think when sometimes you got certain strikes against you. Like if you over 35,
Why'd you look at me like that?
I'm talking about
I'm
me.
kidding.
Because like I'm over 35.
I'm way over 35,
I'm black.
buddy.
I'm overweight.
You're black?
Yeah, sometimes.
Okay.
And it's like when you any of them things, and there's other shit too.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right.
You have to be
straight, like that.
Right.
Straight.
You got to be extra. Like they give you this extra scrutiny because I've seen kids come here was like they've been doing comedy for 2 years, they got a tight 10.
Yeah,
and they young, beautiful,
dude.
And they missing an arm or something. And Holly was like, "Fuck yeah, give him a Comedy Central Presents or whatever,
Dude, when I was 23 and terrible at comedy, I had way more people interested in working with me than a 37-year-old who's good at comedy. Like genuinely, like had people, managers and agents that would come and talk to me regularly, and like I never got anything out of any of it. I never really ended up working with them, but they would still come to, "Oh man, such a bright future. We gotta work with you." But now, like, I could go up and crush in front of just industry, and they'd be like, "Nothing we can do with that."
Right.
You're how old? Sorry, son.
Yeah. But I always get told, like, in a panicking whisper, "Don't tell people fucking how old you are."
Yeah.
But I'm like, I don't know.
I don't get
maybe it has hindered me in some way, but
it's certainly
keeping it real.
me.
I always say keeping it real.
Oh yeah.
Speaking the truth, it will hold you back in this country.
It's true. But I don't really give a shit. Like people, I've done sets where I've crushed, did great. People go, "Man, you were great. How old are you?" Like, "Oh, I'm sorry, does that change everything?" But I think that's what they meant.
You're mature enough to be this good, so it's not as impressive at
like,
this
well,
point.
my eggs are dead. You do the math.
Right.
Kidding. They're still kicking. I'm Irish.
You're Irish. You got
can have a hysterectomy and still get pregnant.
Yeah, it's weird, but I don't know. I feel like whatever I'm gonna get out this shit, it's gonna be off stand up. So whatever, all that other shit, I can't even concern myself with that shit.
No, you're right, and you shouldn't do that to yourself. You shouldn't worry about, like I try to say, you shouldn't worry about what everybody else is doing. Just stay in your lane. Know you're doing great. No, like you love Dom Irrera. I love Dom Irrera. I called him. I had a bad set in Vegas. I said, "Dom, I'm so embarrassed. It was a professional show. I bombed really bad." And he's like, "Al, what are you worried about? you're gonna bomb a million more times.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God. But you're right. Like he wouldn't lie to me. You know, he's like, it's gonna happen a lot. Just brush it off, dude. Shit's gonna be good. Shit's gonna be bad. Just keep going.
I convince myself anytime that I'm like, fuck, I've been doing this too long and it's not working, which is probably about
Every
12
day?
times a month.
Oh.
Every
wow.
other day.
Okay.
Some days I'm just oblivious. But I always think the advice I got from Robin Williams, I said, I can't get anyone to notice me. I do a lot of crowd work, and everyone tells me I just need to stop doing what I'm good at and start focusing on just doing straight jokes like a normal comedian. He said, you can try and be like all the other people, and you'll probably get little spots on sitcoms here and there, or you can become a master at being you, and you'll eventually thrive, or you'll completely fail. But if you thrive, then you're going to be an enormous star and not that guy who was on 35 different sitcoms for 2 episodes each.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, all right, so I'm going to be a star if I just keep doing it. And then every day I'm like, that motherfucker lied to me. He lied to me, and then he killed himself so that he couldn't laugh at how miserable I'm going to fail.
I don't mean to curse on the improv. I mean on the podcast.
Yeah.
But I got to go to the
All right.
improv.
Do you have social media stuff?
Yeah, what's your social media?
I'm BS Comedian on Instagram.
BS?
Yeah, BS Comedian.
Okay.
And my podcast is BS with Brian Simpson. And
Brian Simpson.
my Twitter is Short Wide Neck.
Short, wide neck.
Yeah.
I like that.
Wide as in double wide trailer. Short, wide neck.
Why double wide trailer?
Because
Did you ever
sometimes
play
people
football?
misunderstand what I say when I say wide.
Oh, okay. Did you ever play football?
Very briefly.
Do you have a neck for it?
I wrestled though.
Oh, I'll wrestle you right now.
Yeah.
I was a wrestler. A real wrestler.
Word?
Yeah. Wow, Women of Wrestling.
She was a pro wrestler.
Oh, that's not real wrestling.
Hey,
Whoa.
you watch your mouth
sorry.
there, Frankie.
I'm sorry.
You're talking to one of Harley's Angels, bro.
Oh,
You
what are
don't
you,
mess
nuts?
around.
Wow.
Is this one of those BS things you're talking about?
Eleanor, this
Yeah.
guy was wrestling. They didn't even have ropes on the ring.
What kind of shit
Just
is
a couple
that?
of dudes groping
Bunch
each
of
other.
sissies, huh?
We did have intro music.
Yeah.
That's pretty
No.
cool.
Can you do a drop kick?
No.
I can't. Fall flat. Sorry, that came out.
Yeah,
wrong.
dude, you got
You know what I
really.
meant. I
I
apologize.
think we knew.
Yeah, but that's all I got. What y'all got? Social media.
Social media, they all know ours. EJ Kerrigan, they put it up because we put it on YouTube now.
Okay.
So yeah, they'll put it up. They'll put your stuff up, the podcast, all your stuff.
They got crazy.
Link
Y'all got crazy. Oh, that's the camera right there. I never looked at it.
Yeah.
Ew.
Damn. Damn. Hell yeah.
Yeah, no.
There's another one
Dude, that
right
was
there.
fresh as fuck.
By the way,
I got a shine for you. Hey.
Always know where the cameras are.
Exactly.
That's another thing in Hollywood.
Damn. See, I'm learning. I knew I was gonna learn
Hollywood
something
and
from this.
robberies. You should always know where the camera.
Smart.
Kind of like your friend,
If you're
your
smoking
hood rat
blunts,
friend that
yeah.
pushed you in front of the camera.
Yeah.
He knew where the cameras were.
Let's go do some drugs.
Yay! All right, thank you guys so much.
Thanks
Rate,
for listening.
subscribe. I think
Tell
I'm
a friend.
Tell a friend. True. Tell a friend. I'm in Phoenix, House of Comedy, April 24th through the 28th, and that's it. There's a bunch of other stuff coming up with Dice, but that's his money, not mine.
That's right.
All right.
Thanks, guys. Peace.
Come to the Comedy Store. Support. Thank you. Bye.
That was so much more fun than I.